Hi everyone, my name is Michelle McCune and I'm going to be talking a little bit about my story, Lyme and Cancer Services, and why we're so passionate about helping people get better. My story began when I was 18 years old and I was bit by a tick. The tick that bit me not only infected me with Lyme disease, but also many different co-infections. It infected me with Bartonella, Protozoa rheumatica, Mycoplasma pneumonia, and Powassan virus. And my initial symptoms were pretty severe. I was dealing with full-blown Lyme encephalitis. So I was dealing with a lot of head pressure, heat, noise, light sensitivity, a lot of neck pain. I had trouble swallowing. I kept on feeling like I was going to pass out. And just a lot of brain fog and fatigue so bad that it felt like I was a walking zombie. I went to see many different doctors, I had many different tests done, and I was even tested for Lyme disease many times, but all the tests kept coming out negative. So it wasn't until 5 years later that I went to a Lyme specialist, and this Lyme specialist ordered tests done from a reputable Lyme laboratory, and I finally got my positive Lyme diagnosis. But at that point, I was so debilitated from the disease. And unfortunately, my story is pretty common when you're dealing with chronic Lyme disease. And this is because this disease is very misunderstood, and the mainstream testing is just very unreliable. So at this point, I'm very sick. I'm seeing a Lyme specialist, two of the best specialists in the States, and I received 2 years of conventional treatments and also holistic treatments, but nothing was really working. And I'm really debilitated at this point. I lost so much weight. I looked like a skeleton. I lost half of my hair. I have 70% nerve damage to my left inner ear, which creates a lot of vertigo and imbalance issues. I also developed a movement disorder called cervical dystonia, so I didn't have any control over my neck. And in addition to that, I neurologically was a complete mess. I couldn't process information. I had a lot of head pressure still, and a lot of depression and anxiety. I think the scariest symptoms were that I couldn't even recognize my friends, my family, or even myself. So at that point, my Lyme specialist recommended hyperthermia treatment. And when he told me that, I remember thinking, okay, this is kind of crazy, and I ended up having a panic attack at his office. And I kind of just thought, am I really at the point where I'm going to be heating my body up above 105 degrees as close to 107 degrees? And the answer was yes, I was at that point. So I reached out to other people that had gone, I tried to do research on it, and I decided, you know what, this is probably my best option. So I went overseas to an inpatient hospital. I received a few weeks of treatments. I received 2 extreme whole body hyperthermia treatments, and then also a bunch of therapies that helped get my body strong and helped with detoxing. The amazing thing about hyperthermia treatment is that not only does it get your body temperature high enough to actually kill so many pathogens, but it also breaks down biofilms, and this is key. Because when you're dealing with chronic Lyme disease, there are biofilms that form around the spirochetes, so around the Lyme bacteria. Antibiotics cannot penetrate through the biofilms to actually get to the infection. But when you're using hyperthermia in conjunction with antibiotics, you have a lot greater effect and you're killing so many more pathogens. Also, hyperthermia does an amazing job at stimulating your immune system and your detox pathways. So, with that said, hyperthermia kills a lot of pathogens. But because tick-borne infections are so complicated, there's more to do to get better than just killing so many pathogens. And so the hospitals that we work with do detox you a lot. But when I came home, I was still very toxic. When you receive hyperthermia treatment, hyperthermia kills pathogens. When pathogens die, they create toxins. Toxins create inflammation, and inflammation also contributes to symptoms. So I came back and I had to do a lot of detoxing. And not only was I detoxing these Lyme toxins out and co-infection toxins, but I also had to look into mold mycotoxins. I had to look into heavy metal toxins, because tick-borne infections also go hand in hand with toxicity issues. So I had a heavy load in that. And then I looked into methylation issues. So basically I looked into genetic defects that were preventing me from detoxing as effectively as possible. After doing a lot of detox, I also looked into different ideas to help with cell membrane repair, and I changed up my diet. I started taking supplements and vitamins to get my body strong, and then I started taking antimicrobial herbals to help kill whatever was left in my system after hyperthermia treatment. So now it is 6 months after treatment and I'm feeling a lot better. I'm starting to feel like myself again. And I decide to get tested at Fry Laboratories to see if I'm dealing with any more infections. Before I went for hyperthermia treatment, I was tested at Fry Labs and I came up positive with the co-infections that I went over earlier and Lyme disease. And Fry Labs is pretty cool because you actually can see a blood smear, so you can see how substantial the infection is in your system. So now, 6 months later, post-treatment, I get tested again at Fry Laboratories, and they cannot find any trace of any infections. And it was really cool to compare the different smears from before I went and after I came back. And so that told me, 1, hyperthermia does an amazing job at killing pathogens, and 2, my post-treatment protocol was able to put the other pathogens that weren't killed into remission. At this point, I decide I would like to go back to get my master's in human nutrition. So I am now a certified clinical nutritionist and I have a private practice called Balancing Pathways. And I'm also very passionate about Lyme and Cancer Services. At Lyme and Cancer Services, not only do we help people with Lyme disease and cancer get scheduled with hospitals that offer hyperthermia treatment, but everyone that works with Lyme and Cancer Services has also been through treatment themselves, so we can really hold your hand through the process. The other thing that I really love when we're working with people is that we want to make sure that if you do this treatment, you really do it right, and we're providing you with all the information to really get there. So you can feel prepared before you go. We can help you while you're there, and then also when you come back, if you need to look into any other recovery factors, we can help you along that way as well. We also offer a service where we can go with you to treatment if that's necessary. Our goal is basically to give your body the best fighting chance to have sustainable results. And where I was a long time ago, I was completely disabled. I did not have any quality of life. And I now feel like myself again and have my life back. It was a very long process to get to where I am today, and dealing with tick-borne infections and just being so sick in general is a nightmare, which I'm sure many of you can relate to, but there is hope in getting better, and there's a lot of really good treatments, and we want to help you get there.